Well, working with Shantae, I want to go back to when I was first exposed to her work. And I went to an event held by the Writers Federation. Shantae read her poem, which was called, at that time, Remember Preston. And I was struck by the images. She is so genuine. She just has such a wonderful way of expressing her reality that I never forgot that poem. So when Sandra McIntyre came to me with the idea, and I heard that it was this wonderful poem that Shantae had written, and this was several years afterwards, and I still remembered it, I just jumped at the chance to illustrate it. And Sandra and Shantae came over, and at that time, my studio was just filled with illustrations from my other picture books, and including some of the people that Shantae already knew from the African Canadian community. Right away, we hit it off. It was just a wonderful, wonderful feeling to work with her. So we went out to North Preston. We had several emails back and forth. She provided me with a text. I went back with what I suggested might be the breaks in the poem, and she then when I went out to the community and saw the lay of the land, I was able to meet community members. Some things were very obvious. When you're talking about the choir, you're going to illustrate the choir. When you're talking about the children's choir, you're going to illustrate the children's choir. Picking blueberries, you want to make sure you have the right location for that. So I worked with members of the community and Shantae to find the locations, to discuss them. Now, every time we went out to North Preston, it would be a matter of going for a social event first, usually a meal. I was fed very well when I was out in North Preston. People were wonderful to me. It was great to meet the senior members of the community, the elders, and then eventually we would get to the photo session, and we found little Cinnamon Downey, who was the main character in the book, and she played Shantae Grant as a young girl, and that worked out so well that and just the people were so very natural. I went to the Smith family reunion, and the music was wonderful, the food was great, and I was given permission to photograph. So everything was pretty much fell into place. Shantae was with me most of the time when I was out in the community, and so she was very well aware of what I was doing. And I felt it was very important that the community know exactly how I was going to picture them. With The City Speaks in Drums, it was in some ways the same sort of thing, because Shantae was looking at her childhood and looking at, the boys start out on Gottingen Street, and the two boys were selected by a gentleman that worked at the Dixon Center, and they worked beautifully. We ran them all over town. We were there together. I picked some other people to be models for other parts, like Benny Brennan was the violist. My husband, Richard Rudnicki, artist, he was Spoons. We call him Spoons Rudnicki now, because he watched a 10-minute video on how to play spoons when we went out in front of the public gardens, and I was frantically taking pictures of Shantae's sister, Alicia, who was throwing coins into his hat, and so it all worked out very well.